Hey everyone, welcome to the show, My So-Called Fabulous. I'm Tiffany, and welcome back. And you have been asking me for this, and I have been dragging my feet because I couldn't find the right person. I didn't know who I was looking for. When you asked me if you're drinking too much, not water, okay? If you are consuming too much alcohol, and I'm not here to preach, and my guest is not here to preach, because I do consume alcohol. I do videos creating cocktails, but we know the health implications, or do you? But I brought this fabulous woman on. We crossed paths, and I'm so blessed to have her on because it took the right person for you and for me, because I don't want to be shamed, and you don't either, and preach to as well. So everyone, welcome to the show. Jenn Kautsch, the Sober Sis. Yay! Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Oh my goodness, this is so great. And I am so proud to have you because I told you when we spoke, Jenn, that yes, people tell me what they want to hear. And I'm so blessed that these people that are listening to me and to us today really do care enough to share and be curious. And so welcome to the show, because you and I are around the same age generation.
Yeah.
And I just want you to tell what happened for you to become Sober Sis in your huge following in this amazing journey that you have created. You created this journey, and then here you are. So first of all, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so fun to be here at a local friends podcast in person. This is very cool.
Yes.
I really appreciate you having me because I think you said a very key word just off the top, and that is curiosity. And that's what we're here to do today, is to open up the conversation around alcohol with more curiosity than labels, and it be more just exploratory, to kind of think about reevaluating our relationship with alcohol without the need for labels, judgment, shame, or even rules.
Right. You know, you and I spoke on the phone, which I'd love to speak to my guest ahead of time. And we were talking about, I have some friends that are like, we're going sober. And we'll talk about that word sober. It kind of freaks me out a little bit, but I'm like, but you don't have a problem. But you know what I mean? And I'm going to say that, okay, you don't have a problem. So what's the problem? You know what I mean? So what are you not telling me? And then I'm going to be very transparent. My friend's not going to drink with me anymore. That scares the shit out of me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
tell me what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
No, tell me what's going on in a person's brain when they're thinking these.
Yeah. Well, first off, definitely nothing is wrong with you.
Okay.
You're totally normal. And I think your mindset is normal in a very alcohol-centric society that we live in, where we have really brought alcohol in so commonplace, so normalized, that to even dare do something without it is then questioned, versus, hey, it's okay if you're drinking or not drinking. But I think alcohol so often is brought in as the guest of honor, when really what we're wanting is connection. So my guess is you and the friends that you're thinking of, your goal is connection more than it is drinking. And so drinking is just one of those things in our society that we attach with connection. And so I think it's okay to question that and go, wait a minute, is the drinking what's allowing us to connect? Or is it just part of the scenery?
Right. And that makes perfect sense. It makes absolute sense. You must tell everyone right off the bat what you just said. Our generation, you were talking about women, we're reversing the cycle.
Right.
We're reversing the pattern.
Right.
What are we doing here? The women are drinking more now as we age.
We were talking about that before we went on air, that really for the first time in history, women, as they are aging, as they are getting older, are tending to drink more, not less, as they age and get older. Whereas the younger generation, the millennials, they're actually drinking less. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think I say our generation, you and I are both in the same decade. And I bet a lot of your listeners are right there with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our generation and up, I think a lot of it is we have been taught that this is normal. And then what happens is sometimes loneliness, boredom, We have more time, sometimes more disposable income. We're traveling, we're doing more things. And there's that side of drinking, right? There's the external social, it's vacay all day. It's the rosé all day. It's a vacation, it's a wedding, it's an event. But then there's the at-home drinking, I'm just going to open a bottle while I'm cooking scenario, which is really where I personally found myself to be most on autopilot. Oftentimes you ask, why did I start Sober Sis? And y'all, it is very unlikely. If you knew me and my background, it is so unlikely that I would become AKA Sober Sis, because I didn't even start really drinking socially until my 30s.
Really?
So I did not, and that's just my unique, I say it's unique. I've worked with thousands of women, so now I don't think anything is unique. I think you just look for a pattern. And I think the pattern is typically most people kind of experiment in maybe their college years, in their 20s. And then it for me was a little bit of a flip. This is just a little bit about my story. When I was a young married working mom is when I was finding myself at networking events. And I mean, what are you going to do at a networking event when everyone's got 2 drink tickets?
Sure.
You're going to use them, right?
Right.
Or you're going to the bar after something that maybe have been really stressful or kind of producing anxiety. And then someone offers you a drink. Well, I'd always been a sweet tea or Dr. Pepper girl. That's just how I grew up. And it was normal to me in just my world. It wasn't that I tried to be a non-drinker. It just wasn't my thing. It didn't appeal to me for whatever reason. And a lot of my friendship group was the same. So it felt normal to me. And so in my 30s, a good friend of mine, dear friend still to this day, she was like, Jen, why don't you get a drink with us? And I thought to myself, you know what? Why don't I? I'm like 32, 33 years old. I'm a working married mom. There's nothing immature or silly or flippant about getting that drink. Now, all of a sudden in my 30s, it's glamorized. It's mature. It's actually a reward and a treat. It's something I deserved for the end of a long day. And so I went in to my relationship with drinking with a totally different mindset. And it's something that I kind of literally, quite honestly, Tiffany, in my 30s, I had to catch up a little bit. I had to catch up to the people who had been drinking way longer than me. And by the time I was in my 40s is when I recognized that wine o'clock habit had become exactly that. It was a habit. I could quit anytime I wanted. I could stop. I didn't have to drink. I wasn't physically addicted to alcohol. It was more of a mental, emotional pattern. And I say in my book, Look Life's This, actually I had more of a thinking problem than a drinking problem.
Yes. And if you are on YouTube, you can check it out. Here is her book. I love this so much. Look Life's This right here. I'm sure this is available. We're going to have the show notes of where you can find this book, but I love this so much. She bought this for me. Thank you. Yes. I also think, college is a big thing. Still, right? They're drinking in college.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But not as...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But then you're getting pregnant, having babies when you're in your married year. Married years.
In my 20s, so it just didn't fit at all.
It didn't work.
It was like if I didn't drink when I was a theta at Tech, very involved in leadership.
Sure.
And I think because I was in a place where I was seeing other cautionary tales, if you will. I'm at the Phi Delta house.
Yeah.
I'm at the parties. I'm there. And I'm watching fellow sisters of mine who are awesome, but they're, 18, 19 and overdoing it because maybe it's their first time kind of out of the house. And I'm, let's be honest, I'm holding back hair in the bathroom.
Sure.
Thinking, okay, it's 1990. There's no Uber.
No.
There's no way to get out of there. And for me and my personality, that just looked kind of scary,
right,
out of control, and, just bad, not my thing. And so I think being around it, being in the drinking world was actually helpful for me, but that did not equip me for the later years because I just kind of grew up with kind of rules around drinking, like don't drink and drive, don't drink to get drunk, don't drink if you're not 21. Well, I'm by nature a rule follower.
Right.
So I was like, check, check, check.
Got it.
I won't do that. Got it. Okay, now I'm 32, 33. Those rules don't apply anymore. I didn't really have a conversation around drinking that I could go back to other than the rules. And so I was kind of like, well, why am I not drinking? I mean, literally, why am I not drinking?
Sure.
And so, but again, I didn't really realize that by kind of starting this relationship with drinking with the mindset I had of, I deserve this. This is me time. This is my reward. I want to fit in.
Right.
I'm in my 30s. I mean, even in our 50s, there is a certain peer pressure.
Oh, of course there is. And when someone says, oh, I'm good, I don't drink, you're just like, what's wrong? You know,
what happened?
I know, what
you kinda
happened?
get the hushed
Yeah,
tuck,
you do. It is.
Oh, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to say you really don't have to have a drinking problem to have a problem with drinking.
No joke, right?
I mean, that is such a counterculture thing to say.
Y'all, let me interrupt the show for just a minute to introduce you to one of my new favorite products. Following my breast explant surgery, I discovered ASEA and have been using Renew 28 ever since. Seriously, I'm not sure how I ever lived without this product. The fabulous gel has helped fluff my breasts post-surgery, reduce the craviness on my arms, tighten and smooth my face, and help heal a nasty scar on my daughter's foot. I'm serious, it's so fabulous. This will continue to be a staple in my home for sure. You will just love the youthful appearance it provides and the hydrated, smooth way your skin will feel. I love all the ASEA products I've tried, and I'm sure you will too. Learn more and shop at shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon. And again, that's shopasea.com/Tiffany Blackmon, or click the link in the show notes.
We've learned so much that, only people that can't drink don't drink.
Right.
And boy, am I here to challenge that. I'm here to challenge that way of thinking, because now people are choosing to be alcohol-free as a lifestyle just as much as they're choosing to be gluten-free,
Right.
or vegan.
Right.
I mean, alcohol-free living can actually be a lifestyle for the health of it.
Wow. And that's true, because, you know, when you do experience these, you drink too much or you mix or whatever.
Yeah.
And as I age,
Yeah.
I mean, the things I have to check are just getting higher and higher. I'm postmenopause now, and your body's just not what it used to be, of course.
It's literally not. The science can back that up.
Mm-hmm.
You do not metabolize alcohol the same as you age. It's actually harder on your body, for real.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Just
as we talked about earlier, when you're making mindful choices, that's what we're here to talk about today, is how can you be better equipped to make empowered, mindful choices,
right,
versus living on autopilot, losing your presence, or just going with the flow. I'm a rule follower, Tiffany, but now I feel like I'm a rebel with a cause.
You are.
Because it is a bit rebellious in an alcohol-centric society to sometimes choose to be alcohol-free, but I don't judge anybody for drinking at all, just like I don't want to be judged for not drinking.
Yes. Oh,
It goes both ways.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm writing my notes too. So let's back up. I know the answer to this. I want to make sure everyone understands this, because you're not an alcoholic.
Correct. I was not physically addicted. I took many on and off breaks and eventually took a break that stuck. And when I say took breaks, I'm the queen of challenges. I'm the queen of the juice cleanses, the detox. In fact, that's one of my little taglines, if you will, detox to retox loop, because that's what I was in. So I was constantly taking a break from that, the detox to retox loop, where I was super healthy, mindful, doing all the right things all day. And then in the evening is when I would just kind of transition. It was almost like a cue, like a trigger to transition from day, work, other focus, to evening, my time. Put your feet up, rest, relax, socialize, watch TV, cook with the wine in your hand.
Right.
And so, again, nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But for me, it started to become something that I was doing just out of habit, on autopilot. And it was starting to really misalign with me, because I started feeling divided. I had a divided mind. I want two things. I want to drink less and I want to drink more. What do you do with that?
Yeah.
What I want one. I say I want one, but if I have one, don't I want two? What do you do with that? That is mental tug of war. And the mental tug of war is what was exhausting. Physically, I could go days without it, weeks without it. I went a year without it in my 30s after I picked it up as a habit,
Right.
just to see if I could.
Mm-hmm.
I could. But it was less about during that experiment, if you will, in my late 30s. Oh my gosh, Tiffany, I got to tell you, I slept great. I looked great. I was rocking the bikini. I mean, it was before I turned 40.
Sure.
And I learned nothing. That whole year I didn't drink, I learned nothing. I literally just relied on willpower, a little bit of deprivation mindset. I had my husband doing it with me.
Oh, yeah.
This is very different when I encountered this journey when I almost turned 46 is when I began.
Okay.
I did not have a husband who was on board the let's not drink journey.
Mm-hmm.
He is still a drinker. So I have a spouse that drinks, y'all. I know I'm AKA sober sis, which is really short for sober-minded sisters.
Yeah.
But I have a husband that drinks. I have adult kids who drink. Most of my friends drink in quote real life, right? I mean, most people around me drink. So, and again, that's okay. But that was a big difference for me. I needed to be able to do it for myself and stay in my own lane. And I was doing it because I finally asked myself the right question. You see, I'd been asking myself the wrong question all through my young 40s. I kept saying, I don't really like how this makes me feel the next day. Or darn it, I just worked out. I went to Bikram yoga and, got in the hot box for 90 minutes and burned, calories and, got that Pinot Grigio out on my mat. Like we were good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking the wrong question that whole time I wanted change. I kept asking myself, is it bad enough? Is it bad enough, Jen? Do you really have to change this? Do you need to go to AA? Like, is this bad? And every time I really looked around or looked at my ability to stop, I was like, no, it's not bad enough. I guess I need to keep drinking before I have to change because it's not bad enough. I didn't have a big rock bottom story. I didn't get a DUI. I didn't lose anything. My external world looked like everybody else's. It was what was going on in my internal world. That's where the struggle was. So yeah, outside looking in, I'm good. You would have, and that's why it's unlikely that I would be AKA sober sis. I have a whole group of people that don't even know me as a drinker. So for me to go from non-drinker to social drinker to now I'm just kind of misaligning in my own internal world to becoming sober sis has been quite a journey in and of itself.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to take you back because I know people are wondering this. Your husband drinks.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm just.
Yes. It's been something to navigate for sure for us.
Okay. So see, you're honest. It is
tough.
It's tough to navigate. So.
Oh, yeah.
That was my question because I know a lot of followers that I've spoken with. Yeah. They're like, he's not going to do it. She's not going to do it. My friends aren't going to do it. So you have to do it for yourself.
You got it.
Everybody's strong. Is it because with your husband,
we are drinking buddies. I mean, we were patio.
We were.
That's exactly right. We'd get on his motorcycle and head on up to, one of our favorite watering holes, which happened to be even in a grocery store. And so it was a big deal. But here's the deal. And I've said this multiple times and I'll really say it here. If I had waited more, because I was kind of waiting, secretly hoping that my husband would maybe, lead the way, stop drinking first, then I could follow. That was not going to be the case. He has a different relationship with alcohol than I did. He doesn't feel divided about it. He doesn't feel any cognitive dissonance about it, which is great. That's good. I did. So when you feel that cognitive dissonance, that mental tug of war, this is not God's best for me.
Sure.
It's misaligning. Then you don't want to walk around with that internal war inside anymore. So if he's not experiencing that, he's not going to be motivated to change, right?
Yeah.
But I was. So here's the deal. If I would have waited for my husband to change his drinking so that I would not be sitting here with you today. I would still be drinking.
Right.
100%.
100%.
100%.
That is amazing. But your strength in your relationship, though, because you can define yourself and he can define himself.
And I teach women how to do this inside the community of sober sis. How do you navigate staying in your own lane? How do you stay in your own lane and not lose connection? I want connection and intimacy with my husband. And I don't need alcohol as our connector to do that. We had to find other hobbies, other ways to connect because for me anyway, it was, patio time. It was our way to unwind after the day. When I started changing my relationship with drinking, our kids were almost 17 and 19. So one was still in high school and one had just started their freshman year in college when I shook it up.
Wow.
And it was a shakeup. And a big part of my story is there I was, 45 years old, looking onward at the next decade. And, I was right in my mid 40s. And my daughter, like I said, had just graduated high school. And she was basically getting to reinvent herself. She was getting to move on to a new season of life. And I thought, well, I kind of want to do that. At that point, I felt kind of over it, overweight, overthinking, overexhausted, overgiving. I was just over it. I was over it.
Yeah.
And I was just really had lost a lot of myself in marriage, in motherhood, in different entrepreneur things that I tried. I had just started to play small in my own life, in my own family. And I was like, Jenn Kautsch, look alive, sis. Wake up. This is your one life. Look alive. And that's why I wrote my book, Look Alive, Sis. That's why I titled it that, because I was asleep in my own life, playing small. And I started to wake up and feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get this together. Not because things are so bad, but I started asking the right question, Tiffany. Is it good enough? Is this good enough? Not, is it bad enough?
Right.
And that, I got a quick answer, clear answer. No, it is not good enough. I didn't need a DUI. I didn't need a rock bottom. I didn't need somebody to call me out. No. I didn't need to stumble down a staircase. I didn't need any of that to answer the question, is it good enough? I knew that in my heart.
Right.
And so that was the catalyst for change.
Wow. And look how many women and possibly men too in your community have changed. I mean, that you could do this because you are, we talked about the stigma of the word sober and all of that, what is it the now? Curious?
Yeah. Sober curious.
I mean, especially my California friends. I mean, that's just seems to be a she word out there and phrase, but
Totally.
because I didn't understand. I mean, but I do understand the health application. I understand feeling horrible the next day. Yes. I do. Even, wine, it goes down quickly.
Oh,
it goes
absolutely
so quickly. And when you have the wine and it goes down quickly and you wake up the next day in my 50s.
Oh, yeah. That mindless sipping kind of adds up. Well, I call it the bottle breakdown.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that's keeping it real because if I would have told you 10, 15 years ago that I would kind of work up enough tolerance, which is really all that is. It's just tolerance. Alcohol is an addictive substance. So the more you drink it, the more you're going to need to get the same effects. It's just math. It's just science. Right. And so what happens is, for me, at 5 o'clock, 1 o'clock, I would open a bottle. I'd be like, cute, that's fun. Yeah, but now it's 5:30.
Yeah.
Okay, we've still got a long night to go. Yeah. I mean, we've got more cooking to do. We got to clean the dishes. We've got kids. We've got homework. TV. So before I know it, I'm having a second glass maybe with my dinner. I've got to now clean all the dishes. I'm going to top it off a little bit. That would maybe be a third glass. Sure. I mean, this is while you're drinking, eating, doing life. I'm high function. I mean, talk about high functioning. I'm overperforming. I'm like getting everything done because I'm like relaxing. I've got my 80s music on in the kitchen. And before I know it, Tiffany, I looked at the bottle and this is when I knew, okay, this is not my goal. This is not aligning with me. I looked at the bottle and I was like, wow, Jenn, 2-3 hours in, you've got this much left. That's basically a glass. Right. It's the bottle breakdown. It happens all the time. And that is really, again, it's hard to give a definition to a gray area drinker by amount because that does differ. But this gray area drinking zone, this place where most people, it's kind of like a bell curve, like in the grading in school. It's where most drinkers end up finding themselves. Not take it or leave it and just drink once or twice a year and not full-blown, physically addicted, waking up and drinking all day. Oh, could you imagine?
No.
That's about 10% of heavy drinkers are considered physically addicted.
Really?
Where now you're going to need something way outside the scope of Sober Sis.
Right.
Okay, I'm a sober-minded coach. I have a virtual community. I cannot help someone in any kind of medical sense or anything. But that's about 10% of habitual or heavy drinkers. What about, and about 10% of drinkers on the drinking spectrum are it means nothing to them. There's no social connection to it. There's no mental, emotional, they don't care.
No.
that leaves 80% of drinkers. It's been estimated that there are about 75 million people who would identify in the gray area drinking zone.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the majority of drinkers.
Yeah.
And that's why something like SoberSys that I've created is going to meet the need of most people on the drinking spectrum. I'm not looking for the exception. I'm looking for more of someone that is the rule.
Right.
It's the normal, quote, normal drinker that can take it or leave it. You can put it down. You can do a whole 30. You can do it.
Oh, yeah.
You can go on vacation. You can, but vacation. I
yeah.
mean, that's kind of like, that's kind of like a pass for like wheels off, not drink like you would at home. That is the day drinking.
Yes.
Totally normal. I mean, wake up with a mimosa. You got the pina colada by the pool. You've got your red wine with your steak dinner.
Sure.
That's how it's done. I know because I did it for years. And
so you've been there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So we talked about and I say this all the time, I'm not a health professional. You don't want me to be. I feel like I've had enough health issues, but the health implications. Go ahead, just hit a few of them.
Yeah, well, I did a TikTok a few years ago that went viral. It got 3.7 million views.
That tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And it was on a 60-second clip of how alcohol affects your metabolism. And I tell you what, that's a wake-up call, because actually when you're drinking alcohol, every process in your body really has to go on pause. Your food breakdown, your metabolism, even your immune system, everything has to go on pause. It stops and starts to refocus its energy. Your body is refocused its energy on getting rid of the toxin that you just put in your body, because it cannot stay in there. So there's all sorts of things going on. There's all kinds of chemical reactions with even one drink of alcohol, much less, overdoing it. And your body literally, so all the working out, all the green juice in the world, all the sweating it out, all the detox doesn't necessarily even out with that retox. And so, our skin, what alcohol does to our skin. And I know that you are always talking about beautiful skin, which you have. I'm here in studio, people. It's true.
Thank you.
And what alcohol does to our skin is ultra dehydrating, because alcohol is one of the few, I'm going to bust out here. This is, I'm going to go there. I'm going to call it a drug.
There we go. She did it.
I just called alcohol a drug. It is known as a carcinogen.
Wow.
And so it's a type 1 carcinogen. So that means it causes it can be the cause of multiple or attribute to multiple kinds of cancer.
Yes.
Not a real popular thing to say, I know. But that's why I think alternatives that have actual medicinal properties. Now I drink 0 proof cocktails. I drink de-alcoholized wine without the ethanol, so that I can enjoy things, because I want the flavor, I want the taste, I want the cute glass, I want the garnish.
You want it all.
I want it all.
Except the alcohol.
I want it all but the ethanol.
And so
that kind of rhymes.
I was going to ask you, because, as a chef, I do create cocktails for my feed, and I do that. And I told my daughter, I said, we're going to do a mocktail of the week. Or what did you call it? 0 proof.
Yes, 0 proof
I like
cocktails.
That. But like this one, is it good?
It is really good. And I'm not just saying that. In fact, my friend Jess owns that company, and she's out of the, I believe, Seattle area, and she's a multiple award winner.
Wow.
Just as you probably know this, there are multiple awards given in the beverage industry.
Yes.
And she's a multi award winning. She has started her company 9 years ago, which she was way ahead of the curve.
Wow.
She saw a need because she was tired of going to parties and having kids' drinks. Okay. You and I are both,
lemonade,
fun, refined people that want to go out and have fun. This is not about wonk wonk, go to the kids' table, here's your milk and cookies.
For sure.
No, ma'am. I'm not signing up for that. I always say, I didn't sign up to be somber-minded. I want to be sober-minded, which just means awake, alert, aware in my own life. I've been more fun as a non-drinker because I'm not worried about, did I have one too many? Am I going to remember this conversation later? oh God, I'm wearing 4-inch wedges,
For sure.
like I don't have to worry about that. And now I can dance, I can have fun because I can still have something really pretty, tasty, and refreshing that feels like a treat and a reward in my glass.
Well, this is fabulous because I'd actually, since you and I have met or we've connected, I'm on a quest to find that,
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I
because
can
you
show
can,
you all
you can hook
around.
me up, right? Yeah, I mean, it is. It's because it's true. I look
It's
at
a huge growing industry, and I'm very proud to be a proponent of it. And on my Instagram, am constantly showcasing these companies, which are often small businesses. They're small, boutique, batch made,
sure,
you know, uh, elixirs and
right.
drinks. I even work with zero proof spirit companies that have tapped
Yes.
into, oh, I'm telling you, sky's the limit now. There's so much good NA, non-alcoholic beer out there now. And I'm a Texan, right? So, and I know most of your audience
Yeah.
knows the Texas heat and being by the pool. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I have so many good alcohol-free beers in my refrigerator. I can't even find an excuse to drink one anymore with alcohol. I'm not even motivated if I can have a Corona 0.0.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good news because it's necessary. But I do like what you said because you'll go to a party and a lemonade. Okay.
Right. Or a soft drink.
Topo Chico. I mean,
Yeah. It's like,
so
pick it up.
you and I have a mutual friend and that went through your program and she asked me, I loved our conversation so much because we both felt very safe because she was saying to me, Tiffy, other than pregnancy, have you ever stopped drinking? And I have because I was in that competition world where you couldn't drink and have a figure competition. You could not. That was just not. And it was 3 months, 3 months you'd go off and then you'd go back. So I told her that and she said, you know what? I've never done that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that feels like. So I want to see if I can do it.
Right.
Which takes me back to you. If you go to Jenn's Sober Sis links on her website, I'm fascinated. And you heard her say on this show, I am a goal-oriented gal with a time frame, for example, 21-day reset.
Yep.
How can you do this in 21 days is what someone's listening to me right now going, how could you release alcohol for 21 days? You show us how?
Yeah. I can show women how because
you've done it.
I did it. And I've now helped other women do it. And I know the struggles and I know the obstacles and I know the tools. I know the practical tools that work instead of just a bunch of, good intentions. We know those fly out the window about 3 p.m. You start kind of thinking, is it 5 o'clock yet? So that won't work. We've got to have practical strategies and we've got to have connection to do it. So that we're not doing it alone or just in our own heads, which I tried for years. So in that 21-day challenge, what I do is I show women literally how to look at alcohol differently. My goal is not to change someone's whole relationship with alcohol in 21 days that took 21 years or more to develop. My goal is to empower women to be more educated in more of a positive way than a negative way, so that they can make more mindful choices and just quite honestly look at it differently. If you look at alcohol differently, you may make a different choice. And that is actually my guarantee in the 21-day reset challenge. I can change the way you look at alcohol forever.
Jenn, you have a look alive, sis. You have 7 days to awaken your sober mind.
Yeah. So I have, I don't know if you've ever heard the Bible app called YouVersion.
You told me that.
Yep. It's a free app online. I totally recommend YouVersion. It's so neat because you can look up different plans for different topics or by different authors. And so I'm on there with 2 different YouVersion plans. I have a 3-day and a 7-day. So I have a 3-day Vino Vacay.
Yep.
If you want to just take 3 days and just even go through this app, I've got something for you to think about every day that will bring more awareness. And that's all we want to do right now at the beginning is bring in awareness. We want to get off of autopilot. We want to look alive in our own life. We don't want to do things mindlessly, just out of habit, routine, and pattern and not think about it, not be curious about it.
Sure.
So in the 3-day Vino Vacay, that's what I do. It's just like, let's take a weekend.
Yeah.
That's a Friday through Sunday.
Right.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal because it's a weekend.
Huge deal.
Okay, so I don't take that lightly. And then the 7-day is more like 7 days to awaken your sober mind. And I actually take 7 days out of my book because it's a 40-day reader.
Wow. Well, I told you this, and I'm being vulnerable. I was going to do the 21 days. I was really planning my podcast around this. And I'm like, okay, because I guarantee you, y'all think this too. I was going, okay, 21 days. No, I can't have a birthday party. No, I can't because I'm going on a trip. I can't do it then. So, and I was trying to do the days, and I'm like, I can't do this before I see Jen because I want her at the beginning of the season. But wait, then the holidays are coming. I mean, right?
Oh, I get it.
You've heard this. You've heard people talk like me, right?
100%.
So what are you saying? Change your thought process, right?
Well, I look at all the things you named as opportunities. They are opportunities because I'm guessing, based on what you've shared and my own experience, you've already done all of those things with drinking. Like, that's normal. We know what to do with drinking. What if you looked at those opportunities as a way to create for yourself just a new experience and go to that happy hour, that wedding, that vacation? Ooh, that's a big one, I know, especially those all-inclusive or those cruises where you're like paying for it. It's really hard to turn down a free drink. It's one thing to pay for it. It's another thing to turn it down if it's free. So, so I think if you look for the perfect time to change your relationship with drinking when you, quote, have nothing going on, you'll never find it. The best time to change your relationship with drinking through this experimentation, almost like just be an observer. And if you slip, if you have a drink, hey, maybe you didn't have 3.
I love
That's a win. This is a win. This is not a setback. It's the whole mentality of Sober Sis. This is not about counting days, working a program, or starting over from scratch if you mess up. No, that's pressure. I don't know about you, but that actually makes me want to drink.
For sure.
Pressure and perfectionism, that is what can lead sometimes to over drinking or relying on drinking. So I don't want to create that at all. I want to create an atmosphere of curiosity, awareness, and trying something new and just practicing. What if we just practice going to a wedding or a happy hour or just a date night on a Friday night downtown without a drink? I mean, that's big. It's scary. No, I get it. Yeah. I mean, I really do. You're talking to the right person. I get it. And so, but what's on the other side of that fear or that uncertainty is the gift. Yeah. It's the good stuff. And so getting on the other side and realizing, now, wait a minute, I gave alcohol too much value. I gave it more than it deserved. I outsourced so much of my joy, comfort, relatability, coolness, whatever, you name it, to alcohol. I had outsourced that. I got it back. I don't give that to alcohol anymore. I devalued it. And so that's the journey. And I say journey because it is full of practice. And if you slip up in the journey, let's picture this. If you're a runner and you're running a marathon and you fall down on mile 17, are you going to go back to the starting line? In a marathon? Picture that. How weird would that be to go back to like, bye, I just fell down, I skinned my knee, ouch. I'm going to run back to the starting line and start it all over. No, you just get back up, dust your knee off, and keep going. Where direction matters more than speed.
Good Lord.
So you got to know where you're going.
You just changed everything in my head. I should have listened to this 59 years ago, but I am that person, like, if I mess up, I've messed up.
All or nothing.
And
Let's do it.
All or nothing. And you just said this to me the other day. Like, oh, well, if you have a drink and it's in this 21-day challenge, I'm like, but I have to start over.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
But what do you say to the people that do your program and go back? But if they drink less, is that a win?
Yes, I think it is. And that's why I'm not a sobriety group. I know I'm AKA Sober Sis, which I'll say again is actually short for Sober-Minded Sisters, because I know you and I've talked about the stigma and stereotype that comes with the word sober. But I needed a short name.
It was available.
An Instagram handle that was short and sweet. Sober-Minded Sisterhood was a little too long. But that is the nature of what we're doing in community, is going, you know what if we could change what if we could flip this thing around? Yeah. And instead of making it about all or nothing, what if just drinking less was a win? And that's how women are entering our community. And many are like, well, I didn't even think I could do a weekend, but I did. And then I didn't think I could do 10 days. That's about how long it takes for alcohol to get out of your system. 7 to 10 days. So people that are like being, quote, good during the week, like I'm not going to drink Monday through Thursday and just drink on the weekends. You're never out of the detox to retox cycle because there's a physical craving that comes with alcohol. Even if you're not physically addicted, it creates a thirst for itself. That is the nature of alcohol. It's not you. It's not you're a bad person, weak-willed, need to try harder. You're up against a substance that literally creates a thirst for itself. It wants you to have more.
How long does it take to
7 to 10 days.
7 to 10 days. Okay.
Because alcohol, and this is what I was going to say earlier when I dropped the big D word. When I said alcohol is the only drug, it's one of the few things that permeates your cells on a cellular level immediately upon entering your body. And it takes a while to get out of your body on that cellular level. That's a hard word to say. And so, that's about how long it takes. And that's why on day 4 of trying to not drink, you are just about to crawl out of your skin and hit the eject button.
Right.
And that's not because you're physically addicted and you're an alcoholic and you need to go to rehab. It's because, although that may be for someone.
Yeah.
So we're not knocking that or minimizing that. But again, that is not the norm. That is further down the drinking spectrum. But for most people, all that drink is on a Friday night is scratching an itch that the drink itself created.
Right.
The drink created the itch, but then it's scratching. Yeah. If you remove the scenario, you won't want to scratch that anymore. It's not there.
Yeah.
And that's what takes 7 to 10 days. That's why I'm like, women, I work with women, AKA sober sis, although I love to encourage men because I do have a lot of sober bros, if you will, sober-minded bros that follow me on Instagram and whatnot. But my community is women only, which actually feels really safe as well.
Sure.
Because we process differently, not only alcohol, but life. And that's what we end up talking most about is life,
right?
Not alcohol. Alcohol in and of itself is pretty one-dimensional. It's kind of boring.
Right.
It's kind of homogenous. It's like the same thing over and over again. Whereas life, it can get lifey real fast.
Yes.
And we got to know how to handle that.
Right. So, Jenn, if you could take one thing, if someone just took this clip I'm about to ask you and had one thing to take out of this podcast for this audience, what would it be?
Yeah. Well, I would say get curious. Get curious about your relationship with alcohol. It's not about what you're going to lose. It's about what you're going to gain.
Yeah.
Okay. If we look at what we might lose, well, I mean, you can lose the 3 a.m. wake up call. You can lose the hangover. Mm-hmm. You can lose a lot of things that you might want to lose, but what are you going to gain? And I was not prepared for how many things I would gain from starting on this journey.
That is amazing. And if you follow along Sober Sis with Jenn, read some of the comments in her reels, her posts, and it really will. You have a lovely audience that's very transparent. Awesome. And you know what I mean? Like they are. And I know some of them. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
You are fabulous. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You are so fabulous. Now, hopefully no one's saying, oh, let's go get a drink now.
Right.
Now everybody's thinking because now they're questioning, and thinking. So I love that. I love it so much. Thank you for all the materials. I'm going to use you for resources, and I want you. Absolutely. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the challenge.
She said it right here.
I said it right here.
She said it right here.
And we'll do it together. I know there's not a good time. There's not.
Yeah, we'll do it together. You don't have to do this
but I'm going to do it. And I planned, I was going to do it up to. So we're going to have her back. Not sure when.
Right on. Right on.
It's not going to be in 21 days. But anyway, you are so fabulous. I just appreciate all you're doing for all the women. It's just, and families too. We didn't get into that. So
it's so rewarding. It's challenging, but rewarding. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I can tell. How can we find you?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking. If you go to sobersis.com, that's my main website where I've got all kinds of resources. I do have a free guide that I offer women who may just want to take a break from wine o'clock tonight and that are looking for practical strategies. So, sobersis.com /free-guide is a great place to start.
Well, congratulations to you
Thank you.
and your community,
Thank you.
and to my community for being such a strong person, and you're just a joy. And I'm so proud to have you in my tribe now.
That's
So
right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you carried something today away from this show today, because again, you've been asking and continue to keep because I'm listening. I'm listening to you, and talk to Jenn. Look her up. Check her out online. And if you do need to ask the question, go ahead. She's there for you. And we have all this in the show notes. And you know what I say to you all? Keep being fabulous.